Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives as chief guest. We have with us our special guests as well, Ms. Joanna Aziz, Principal Coordinator, SDG Affairs, Prime Minister's Office, and Mr. Roger Vuris, President, Global Growth and Opportunity, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Mr. Helaluddin Ahmed, Senior Secretary, Local Government Division, is the chair of today's event. And we have with us our senior dignitaries from UNICEF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and JICA. Different development partners and NGOs are also present in this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to request Mr. Mohammad Saifur Rahman, Chief Engineer DPHE, to enlighten us with the opening address towards the pathways for success for achieving SDG 6.2 through CWIS-FSM Cell.
সাইফুর রহমান সাহেব, ওই মন্ত্রী মহোদয় জয়েন করছেন। চিফ ইঞ্জিনিয়ার সাহেব।
জি, হ্যালো সাহেব। জি,
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার। ওয়ালাইকুম স্যার।
জি, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। সবাই জয়েন করছে নাকি? এভরিবডি হ্যাভ জয়েন?
জি স্যার। চিফ ইঞ্জিনিয়ার সাহেব, সাইফুর রহমান সাহেব।
Ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting. We'll start just at 10.
So, Mister, you are on mute.
Mister, you are muted. Okay, you become the unmute.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good day to you all. I'm Shormishta Devnath, Executive Engineer, Department of Public Health Engineering. Very pleased to welcome you all for today's launching of CWIS-FSM Support Cell. We are very privileged to have with us Mr. Mohammad Tajul Islam, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives as chief guest. We have with us our special guests as well, Ms. Joanna Aziz, Principal Coordinator, SDG Affairs, Prime Minister's Office, and Mr. Roger Vuris, President, Global Growth and Opportunity, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Mr. Helaluddin Ahmed, Senior Secretary, Local Government Division, is the chair of today's event. And we have with us our senior dignitaries from UNICEF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and JICA. Different development partners and NGOs are also present in this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to request Mr. Mohammad Saifur Rahman, Chief Engineer DPHE, to enlighten us with the opening address towards the pathways for success of achieving SDG 6.2 through CWIS-FSM Cell.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's chief guest, Mr. Mohammad Tajul Islam, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives. Event Chair, Mr. Helaluddin Ahmed, Senior Secretary of Local Government Division. Special guest, Ms. Joanna Aziz, Principal Secretary of SDG Affairs, Prime Minister's Office, and Mr. Roger Vuris, President, Global Growth Opportunity, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Senior dignitaries from different development partners, banks, and other eminent participants. At the very beginning, I would like to pay my deepest homage to the great architect of independence, the greatest Bengali of all time, the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. It is a matter of delight that we are launching CWIS-FSM Cell in the year when the whole nation is celebrating the birth centenary of our father of nation. Dear ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of DPHE and CWIS-FSM Support Cell, I would like to welcome you all in today's virtual launching event of CWIS-FSM Cell DPHE. One of the remarkable success of this government is the elevating open defecation less challenging, as we need to achieve safely managed sanitation to accomplish the goal for which both fecal sludge and solid waste management are imminent. Keeping FSM service as nodal objective and to set the appropriate guidance of safely managed sanitation journey of the country, the government has already developed and endorsed National Action Plan for FSM as instilled in the institutional and regulatory framework. And accordingly, CWIS-FSM Support Cell has been established in DPHE under the local government division. Dear development partners, DPHE is always seeking innovative technologies and approaches that speed up safely managed sanitation services in Bangladesh. I am happy to inform you that we are installing omniprocessor and innovative technologies invented by the Gates Foundation for treatment of fecal sludge and solid waste in Cox's Bazar Rohingya camp. This project is supported by Asian Development Bank. We are also installing some new technologies from support of World Bank project. This learning will help us to expand similar technologies in other Purosabhas in Bangladesh on the basis of different context of Purosabhas of the country, like Bangladesh, where land is very limited and population density is very high. The role of Asian Development Bank, World Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Islamic Development Bank, JICA and other is also noteworthy towards sanitation achievement, and I am expecting more collaboration through CWIS-FSM Support Cell in the coming days for contractuality of similar innovative technologies for different Purosabhas. Dear participants, the CWIS-FSM Support Cell will focus on 8 functional scopes of work for achieving safely managed sanitation. They are: number 1, technical support; number 2, technology evolution; number 3, financial resource planning and management; number 4, informational education and communication; number 5, capacity building; number 6, monitoring and evaluation; number 7, strategy planning and markets; number 8, disaster emergency and coordination. The support cell will also work together with ITN Group for capacity development and technology. Technical assistance hub will provide strategic technical support. The cell consists of 2 units to achieve the objectives of citywide inclusive safely managed sanitation. One is CWIS-FSM City Support Unit headed by Dr. Al-Muyeed, and the other one is Disaster Climate Change Support Unit headed by Ms. Saila Shahi. City Support Unit will effectively coordinate all elements of functional and operational strategies. Disaster Climate Change Support Unit will strive to mainstream risk-informed development guidelines, climate adaptation approaches, design and implementations. Besides, this unit will work on emergency humanitarian response, undertake the integrated promotion of gender equality and women's empowerment. I am happy to announce that most of the experts of both the team are on board and the cell has started its work already. Before I finish, I am happy to share that DPH is implementing projects on sanitation focusing on treatment of both fecal sludge and solid waste together in 104 Purosabhas. I am positively sharing that the LLF project funded by Islamic Development Bank for 10 district level Poroshobha is at the verge of final approval stage. And finally, in order to pave this journey of sanitation, we are seeking wholehearted support from all development partners for more investment projects triggering safely managed sanitation, that is solid waste and fecal sludge management. With such notion, I am welcoming you all in this launching event of CWIS-FSM Support Cell. Thank you all. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu.
Thank you very much, sir, for your speech. Distinguished guests, I would like to request Mr. Helaluddin Ahmed, Senior Secretary, Ministry of Local Government Division and the event chair of today's event, to give an overview regarding Bangladesh government's vision on WASH, specifically focused on sanitation.
Thank you very much. The chief guest of today's launching event, our Honorable Minister, Mr. Tajul Islam, MP, Minister for the Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperative. A special guest, Ms. Joanna Aziz, Principal Coordinator, SDG Affairs, Honorable Prime Minister Office, and Mr. Roger Voris, President, Global Growth and Opportunity, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Mr. Saifur Rahman, Chief Engineer of Department of Public Health Engineering, and all distinguished guests, my colleagues and esteemed dignitaries, Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all. Distinguished guests, I am very pleased to be here, and I like to reiterate that all concerned, including the local government, Ministry of the Rural Development and Cooperative, and its departments of Public Health Engineering, and for WASHA and other government and non-government organizations, various development partner and media are working very hard for the development of sustainable, inclusive sanitation system. As a result, the country's basic sanitation system has improved significantly. The current rate of the open defecation has almost zero. Bangladeshi can take plenty of pride in this far away accomplished. Achieving the Sustainable Development Goal of 2030, keeping in the view of the challenge of the efficient waste management in the city, the public health system is being accelerated with the political commitment of the present government under the leadership of our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Dear respected participant, you are all here awarded the strategy for the water supply and sanitation was formulated at the national level in 2014 and it's revised very recently, aligning SDG target where the proper waste management, both fecal sludge and the solid waste, have been given almost important to meet the challenges of the 21st century sanitation needs. The revised strategy of the water supply and sanitation will be printed very soon. You are also awarded the policy support branch of the local government department, approved the institutional and the legal framework for the proper waste management where the responsibilities of various stakeholders have been clearly declined. We believe that the CWIS-FSM Support Cell under the leadership of our Honorable Minister, Mr. Tajul Islam, will take the initiative one step further with the goal of the efficient waste management in the cities by applying city-wise inclusive the approach of the ensuring equity, dignity, safety, and affordability. We need to take action for proper management of the freshwater ecosystems and access to the safely managed sanitation. Those are essential to the human health, environmental sustainability, and the economic prosperity. We need to sustain the success we have achieved in the safe water and sanitation sector and the role of all concerned in the tackling and existing challenges and turn the acquired experience into the social movement. On behalf of our government, I would like to thanks to all for the continuous support from the development partner to achieve our SDG 6 goal. Let us all join hand and take part in this development. Let CWIS and FSM Cell play a leading role in the country to meet the sanitation challenges of tomorrow. Let the country move forward, achieving the goal of the sustainable development by 2030. I would like to thank Mr. Roger Voorhees. He is the responsible person for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We are seeking the always support from the Bill and Melinda Gates to eradicate our fecal sludge management and other activities in the sanitation sector. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And thanks to our Honorable Minister to join with us as a chief guest. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable speech. DPHE is working with the 61 towns feasibility study project supported by BMGF. Mr. Shishir Kumar Bishwas, Project Director, 61 towns project, will now demonstrate the significance of monitoring data and presentation of dashboard for national level data.
Distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to SDG 6.2 Data Monitoring System. And this is Shishir Kumar Bishwas, Project Director, Department of Public Health Engineering. We know that the target SDG 6.2 is on access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all. It is very important to establish a monitoring system to know where we are at present and where to go to achieve the target by 2030. Integrated Monitoring Initiative for SDG 6.2 has 4 core principles as shown here. It has also a well-recognized approach, determining baseline figures, building national ownership, integrate and mainstream, finally consolidate and sustain. The process was initialized in broader scale by the project feasibility for implementing of solid waste and fecal sludge management system in 53 district level Puroshabhas and 8 city corporations implemented by Department of Public Health Engineering, where the status of municipal solid waste and fecal sludge management system in 61 district towns are bringing out with different social, environmental, technical, and financial attributes, and addressing SDG 6.2 indicators along with determination of actions to achieve the target. For supporting the principles and approaches with entire coordination, our government has been approved CWIS-FSM Support Cell, which will act as the secretariat for the National Coordination Committee. This is the formation of this cell as mentioned by our Honorable Chief Engineer. Now the dashboard and the database. As mentioned before, baseline survey and database formation followed a standard procedure with modern equipment, tools, and programs, and it transforms the representation of results in dynamic platform or dashboard. Welcome to the home page of the dashboard, and let's see what are the functions. Here is the city profile. And for any city like Kumilla City Corporation, one will get the status of SDG indicators for sanitation, general information of the city and its capacity, waste generation, and position of the components of the service chain in detail. The dashboard is presenting the number of tools, equipments, infrastructure belongs to the cities. One can easily find out the location of the public toilets, bins, dumping site, slums, etc. from the city map. Similarly, institutional capacity of the city has also been presented here. Sheet flow diagram presenting a clear picture of how excreta flows are managed within the city and how it is polluting our environment. Fecal sludge and solid waste life cycle of the city are presented in Sankey diagrams. Profile of the city will change instantly upon selection of the respective city. Let's see the Magura municipalities. There is also Nodal Poroshova. Now I'm going to the charts option and selecting the Kumilla City Corporation. The position of the components of FSM value chain of the respective cities are being demonstrated here. Different features can be figured out from the drop-down box.
Moving. Slides are not moving.
So it is obviously powerful sanitation status representative platform in line with policies and strategies, facilities in decision-making and activities related to planning and implementation of waste management services.
See, the animation was not really seen, what you have shown that.
Shishir, kindly share the software screen, not the PowerPoint screen.
Shishir, can you continue the presentation orally? No problem. I mean, if the dashboard is not showing, no problem. But just continue yeah, it's working now. Please carry it on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You can start from beginning, Sisi, don't worry.
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity again. So here's the home page. And it is the city profile. And for any city like Kumilla City Corporation, one will get the status of SDG indicator for sanitation, generate information of the city, its capacity, waste generation, and position of the components of the service chain in detail. The dashboard is presenting the number of tools, equipments, infrastructure belongs to the cities, and one can easily find out the location of the public toilets, bins, dumping sites, slums, etc. from the city maps. Similarly, institutional capacity of the city has also been presented here. Sheet flow diagram presenting a clear picture of how excreta flows are managed within the city and how it is polluting our environment. Fecal sludge and solid waste life cycle of the city are presented in the Sankey diagram, and the profile of the city changes instantly upon selection of the respective cities. Let's see the status of Magura's municipalities here. We can also select the nodal. Now in the chart option, the position of the components of FSM value chain and respective cities are being demonstrated here, and different features can be figured out from the drop-down box of the dataset. Now the indicator CWIS approach have been incorporated here. So anybody will be able to compare the position of the cities and on the basis of different parameters. So the data monitoring dashboard has an extensive impact. It obviously a powerful sanitation status representative platform in line with policies and strategies, facilitate in decision making and activities related to planning and implementation of waste management services, support the local government institutions and sector partners, implement in entire waste management system, capacity building, awareness raising, and regular monitoring, upgradation of the city status on sanitation and FSM services chain will assist government to comprehend changes in SDG 6.2 indicators along with the gaps of program implementation. The dashboard will be expanded with valuable data and information as left flow diagram and with a vision to represent the status of the country on SDG 6.2. It will assist to support SDG tracker, providing indicator information. Thank you all for listening to the presentation.
Thank you very much for the nice presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to hear from Dr. Roshan Rajshrestha, Deputy Director, BMGF, regarding collaborative efforts to achieve CWIS in line with implementing FSM National Action Plan in collaboration among sector actors.
Thank you, Shramishta. Honorable Minister, Mr. Tajul Islam, respected Senior Secretary, Mr. Helaluddin Ahmad, respected Principal Secretary, Ms. Joanna Aziz, Honorable Mayors and colleagues from the DPHE and development partners, my President Roger, my Director Brian, and my colleagues from the Gate Foundation. Today, the world is celebrating World Toilet Day, and we are celebrating with here such a great action. So I'd like to wish first Happy World Toilet Day. So congratulations, Mr. Saifur Rahman, Chief Engineer, DPHE, and our entire DPHE colleague for launching such an important cell in your department. It is a matter of pride for us to be associated with such a crucial institutional reform that will help country to achieve SDG 6.2 as well as some areas of 6.3. It's already been almost a year that we discussed about the creation of the CWIS-FSM cell. Finally, it is materialized. Mr. Saifur, you have rightly mentioned that achieving SDG is not going to be easy. Achievement of safely managed sanitation must start from the containment improvement, followed by collection, treatment, and besides having toilet. At the same time, we also need to have proper institutional framework with the adequate professionals at the local government institutions, as defined by the institutional and regulatory framework of FSM. The good thing is this IRF is already approved by the government, so I'm sure it will happen very soon. We also need to develop strong monitoring mechanism by designing a right indicators so that we can ensure that poor, marginalized communities as well as the women, girls have access to safe and sustainable sanitation services. Great to see that CWIS-FSM cell has strong focus to mainstreaming gender equality and women empowerment across all the initiatives. Glad to see that the dashboard presented by Cicir, it looks very powerful tool that will establish national monitoring system. This must be another milestone of DPHE to track the SDG related to sanitation. As you know, we have supported to DPHE to establish, not DPHE actually, we have supported to establish integrated municipal information system in that's called IMIS in a couple of the cities like Khulna and Janaidah. I hope it will be expanded to large number of cities and will be linked to this national dashboard that just Shishi has shown it. It is going to be an excellent accountability mechanism that DPHE will be demonstrating for the sanitation. I think it's going to be an example as well, also in many South Asian countries. I haven't seen that dashboard besides in India. Our partners, WaterAid, SNB, Practical Action, WUSUP have already demonstrated many best practices on sustainable and innovative sanitation in the country in the past couple of years. This is a time for scaling those learning. I'm sure CWIS-FSM Cell will be an instrumental for it. We have also developed a different mechanism to strengthen the capacity of the CWIS-FSM Cell. For example, we are working with the IT and Al-Muyeed to establish a capacity building hub to build capacity of municipal officials. That is going to be instrumental for the CWIS-FSM Cell. Similarly, we have created a technical assistant hub to provide support to the large projects of development banks like ADB, World Bank, Islamic Development Bank, to make sanitation project inclusive as well as sustainable. So this all IT and Al-Muyeed as well as our TA hub will be closely working with the CWIS-FSM Cell to provide technical assistance. Additionally, we are also partnering with the Municipal Association for Bangladesh, as well as a Faecal Sludge Management network, where a large number of NGOs are involved there for the large advocacy as well as public awareness for the FSM and CWIS in Bangladesh. We recently have established partnership with UNICEF for scaling citywide inclusive sanitation globally, and also to support implementation of UNICEF Global Framework for Urban Wash program globally as well. So I'm so glad that UNICEF has been considered Bangladesh as one of the priority country for this engagement. So UNICEF support also will be instrumental for expanding CWIS-FSM Cell in the country. Great to see that CWIS-FSM Cell has two separate dedicated units deal with the cities program led by my colleague, Dr. Al-Muyeed, and another disaster and climate change leading by Saila Said. I wish you all the best for the entire CWIS-FSM Cell team, including co-chair Shafiqul Islam. My colleague Valerie Bemo from the emergency response team is also working closely with Saila Said to support her in humanitarian related work. She's already actively engaged in the Rohingya camp. I have seen yesterday her back to trip report is very impressive. I'm fully agree with Mr. Saifur that all development partners need to come together to make government's vision CWIS-FSM Cell happen. We look forward to joining hand with all development partners to support CWIS-FSM Cell. We greatly appreciate the initiation of Ministry of Local Government under the leadership of Honorable Minister Mr. Tajul Islam. We are super optimistic that Bangladesh will be a leader in South Asia for achieving SDG 6.2 as you did for MDG. Thank you once again, and all the best for this exciting initiative with our full commitment to entire team there, and happy World Toilet Day once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roshan. Distinguished guests, now I'd like to request Mr. Dara Johnston, Chief of WASH, UNICEF Bangladesh, to deliver his speech.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Tajul Islam, Honorable Minister, Mr. Hilal Uddin Ahmed, Senior Secretary, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, again, happy World Toilet Day. I would just like to very briefly, first of all, thank Rosan for his comments about the current collaboration we have with Gates Foundation on the safely managed on-site sanitation, as well as the citywide inclusive sanitation projects we're doing together, and to congratulate DPHE on the launch of this citywide inclusive sanitation cell. I think it's a very needed development within DPHE. I want to just take the opportunity this morning to inform you of the launch of a global publication by UNICEF. If I can be allowed to share my screen. I can show you. I hope that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
So this is the state of the world sanitation. It has been launched today. You can see the link there where you can access this publication. It is a UNICEF WHO publication. It provides data and sanitation on sanitation coverage investments across the globe, including Bangladesh, and how it impacts on health and economies. This is the first time this has been done. It shows evidence on what works from successful countries and gives some global guidelines. It's calling for strong government leadership and investment in resilient sanitation services, which is something I think we are seeing here this morning. And it charts the ambitious way forward if we are going to reach the SDG. And this is a huge challenge, as we all know, and I think that's been pointed out. Globally, the world is off track for access to safe sanitation. And you know, this CWIS-Cell is an important step towards helping to achieve that for Bangladesh. I just want to quickly maybe show you, this is not in the report, but this is an extrapolation of some of the data which is available, the JMP data. If we look at it carefully, we can see, and I hope that you can see this graph. This is the progress towards safely managed sanitation for Bangladesh alone, so SDG 6.2. And if you can see the basic sanitation will be on target. If we go with the current trends, we will reach the target by 2026. But actually, at the current rate, we will not achieve safely managed sanitation. We will only be at 60% by 2030. However, I have to add here that this is only using rural data. We don't have complete data for urban as yet in Bangladesh, but with the safely managed on-site sanitation project that we're doing together with Gates Foundation, we hope that we will be able to have this data, not just for Bangladesh, but globally in the near future. But evidence is that also urban sanitation, I think you all know, is also very much off track. So the actual achievement has to be on a slope like this, which is an even greater slope than the basic sanitation. So I think everybody agrees that we have a huge challenge in front of us, and there's a lot of work to be done in the next 10 years. So I invite you all to please access this new publication and to see where the advice and the guidelines are, and how we can work together to achieve
and Ms. Zena Jitz of the SDG coordinator, and Mr. Roger Boris, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to, on behalf of the JICA Bangladesh office, I'd like to congratulate for launching a citywide inclusive sanitation, Faecal Sludge Management Support Cell in DPHE. As economic activities develops and water consumption increases, the sludge treatment causes a social problem. In Japan, landfill and sludge have been conducted, but this will result in environmental problem and expansion of landfill site. Therefore, the technologies for recycling sludge into fertilizers and bricks, and technologies for turning sludge into fuel for power generation have been developed and put into operation in Japan. So based on Japan's development experience, we recognize the importance of establishing implementation system for efficient sludge treatment. Therefore, we'd like to appreciate the initiative and commitment of the Ministry and DPHE for official launching of the CWIS-FSM Support Cell today, and towards achieving the sustainable development of the goal number 6.2 by 2030. JICA has been closely working with DPHE for more than 20 years, especially for the issues of arsenic mitigation in drinking water. And DPHE Central Laboratory in Mohakari was constructed by JICA's grant aid. And recently, 2 types of deep tube well drilling rig machines were handed over to DPHE as a part of another grant aid project. By utilizing the drilling rig, the DPHE and JICA drilled 400-meter deeps of deep tube well and supply safe drinking water for approximately 30,000 people in Balkari Rohingya camps in Ukia. This joint project was successfully implemented. And we remember that the project was inaugurated by Mr. Heraluddin Ahmad, Senior Secretary of LGD. By taking advantage of this project, JICA informed the Japanese people that DPHE is sincerely providing support to the displaced people. JICA is working with local government engineering department too. Urban Development and City Governance Project, which recently started with LGED, aims at improving the city governance, thereby improving the urban infrastructures. The target cities are Gazipur, Narayanganj, Kumila, and Cox's Bazar. And in this project, water supply and solid waste management will be one of the targets to be improved. So finally, JICA recognizes LGD and DPHE as one of the best partners for realizing SDG goals, and will continue working with in the field of water, sanitation, and hygiene. JICA is always on your side. Shobaike, One, Donovan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to request Brother Vardi Yusuf, Operation Team Leader, Islamic Development Bank Group.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting us, Honorable Minister Tajul Islam, respected Chief Engineer and colleagues of the Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperation, distinguished development partners. Again, thank you very much for inviting us, and we are very happy to be here in this important event. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Nasir Sulaiman, the Regional Hub Manager, who could not join us because of the personal emergency. But first of all, we would like to congratulate and highly appreciate the initiative of this establishing the citywide inclusive sanitation support cell in the DPHE. And this is very important initiative, I believe. And I can tell you that ISDB has a long history of interventions in the infrastructure of WAS in Bangladesh, in water supply, hygiene, and sanitation. So in that way, we have established a long record of cooperation with the ministry or DPHE. And in fact, the sector, the WAS sector, has been assuming a significant share of the bank operation portfolio in Bangladesh, in the country. So to name a few, in the past, the bank has supported the country in constructing wash infrastructure for the population in the cyclone-prone coastal belt. And currently, we are supporting the construction of wash infrastructure in 23 Purasapa in Bangladesh. And right now, the bank is now ready and about to implement the construction of hygiene facility across the country, 64 districts, in response to COVID-19. I think in this regard, we are happy to inform you that the one project has been put into our pipeline for 2021, and the project called Inclusive and Integrated Sanitation and Hygiene Facility in 10 priority towns in Bangladesh. So I would like to inform the Chief Engineer, DPHE, in this opportunity that we are ready to conduct a full-fledged project appraisal. So we will come to meet your team and to have further discussion and consultations. And may I take this opportunity to mention that the basic design of this project is using CWIS approach, and we enjoy the benefit of technical preparatory works of Bill Melinda Gates Foundation. So thank you, Bill Melinda Gates Foundation for this excellent work. So I will stop here. So let me again to congratulate the ministry for this important initiative. So please assure our commitment to the country. And again, I'm happy to tell you that within weeks or maybe in a month or two, we will come to meet and to see the CWIS team, and to discuss further about the project, about this inclusive sanitation in 10 priority towns. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you very much for your nice speech. Distinguished guests, now it's time to hear from Mr. Manmohan Prakash, Country Director, Asian Development Bank, Bangladesh Resident Mission.
Good morning, everybody. Let me just start my camera. 1 second, just let me. Yeah. So good morning, everybody. It's really a pleasure to see you all here today. From the ADB's perspective, this is one of the most important area that we have been wanting to support. And it's a great pleasure to see the Honorable Minister here, the Principal Coordinator, SDG Affairs, the President, Global Growth Opportunity, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Senior Secretary, Mr. Hilaluddin, other colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. One of the key areas about the sanitation has really been the low awareness that is existing and the priority that has not been given. So one of the things which we would like to suggest is that as part of the public health system, sanitation should get its due respect, due advantage. And also the programs that are being developed must identify that sanitation is something that goes beyond just the cleanliness part of it. The other thing that we have seen in South Asia is that sanitation, though it has been started, there has been only very limited progress as far as the occupational aspects are concerned. And this is an area of priority. This is something that can actually help us to ensure not only respect for the number of scavengers that have been there in this profession, but it could also lead to modernization and use of technology. The third thing which I would like to mention about this is the importance of the institutional role and the responsibilities. If you look at the institutional arrangements today, we find lots of gaps and overlaps are existing, both at the national level as well as also at the city level. Giving importance to having a very robust institutional system can ensure that the sanitation systems that are developed, they are able to hold, they are able to deliver, and they are able to be maintained. Several times sanitation systems have been set up, but sustaining them or maintaining them have always been a challenge. So having a good institutional setup could help us to ensure that. Together with this would also be clear identification of the roles and the responsibilities. Another point that I would like to make about this would be to adopt an inclusive citywide or inclusive area-wise approach. What we have seen that when you go for a comprehensive citywide inclusive sanitation plan, it helps you to save cost. It also helps you to save resources, but more importantly, you have standards that can be followed in different areas, different parts, and you could actually develop a certain technology that is easy to learn and easy to adapt. I have always been highlighting that sanitation is an area where low-cost technologies have played a fantastic role. There are several examples in South Asia where some cities, some towns, even at a sub-town level, innovative approaches have been adopted by several of these small towns. These could be mainstream, these could be brought, and homegrown solutions are the best when it comes to these kind of technologies. Adopting them, the first step would be to really learn from each other. Second would be to have certain testing or pilot testing some of these technologies, and finally adopting them in a citywide comprehensive inclusive sanitation plan. Another part of the sanitation challenge has always been that if you look at the poor, they are the ones that are the most affected. So how do we reach the poor, the people who don't have the money to really construct personal, let's say personal sanitation facilities? How do you really go for adopting a collective sanitation plan? Now, again, there a lot of good examples have come in South Asia. Sulabh Shauchalaya was one of those such initiatives. Some more of these are needed. This could also help us because in case of Bangladesh, for example, the land is very, very limited. Can we go for some collective plans for the poor? Can we do something in the urban areas? For example, if you are going in Dhaka, going around in Dhaka, you would see that some places you just don't find many of these sanitation facilities. So looking for some kind of a technology, some kind of an approach which could take into account the space or economic constraints that are existing could help us to develop a sanitation plan that's reachable to all of the all of the people, including the poorest of the poor. Now, in terms of the financing side, I think that is another area where I feel sanitation deserves much more than what has been so far allocated to this. Sanitation has been seen more as a public service facility or public service utility, but it could also turn out to be a money earning opportunity. We have a plant in Jessore, which is using this human waste or the waste to create energy, to create compost, to create several of the things that can be recycled. Why can't we have that kind of an approach on a national scale? Second would be to ensure that we are also able to have adequate sustainability built into each of our interventions. How do you do that? You basically go for more effective use of the human, financial, and natural resource management. In terms of the responsibility and authority, I have always been highlighting that the institutional setups that we develop should be some where the local people get a role. So identifying the role of the local governments, identifying the role of the local NGOs or the local people is going to be significantly important to make sure that whatever interventions are planned or are given are supported. Lastly, in terms of the sanitation part, I think it is not something that the government or the agencies can do it all. We also need to create fair amount of awareness in the society. We need to create awareness amongst the people, and it must be a bottom-up approach where the people themselves feel that sanitation is good for them, sanitation is good for health, and sanitation is good for all of us. In this COVID-19, if there is one thing that has come out, that is that public health is important. Countries that have invested in public health, they have done better. Countries that did not invest in public health as much have had problems in facing the COVID-19 challenge. And sanitation could contribute to one of those public health challenges. So investments in public health, having a better institutional setup, having a more sustainable system will all help us to come up with a much more dependable and reliable public health systems. With those few words, I wish all of you the very best, and I do hope that this workshop, this seminar will have good interaction amongst all of the participants, and we will be able to come up with some good recommendations that can be useful to all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to request Ms. Marcy Mayang Tembon, Country Director, World Bank for Bangladesh.
Thank you. Chief guest, Mr. Tajul Islam, Honorable Minister of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives. Special guest, Ms. Jena Aziz, Principal Coordinator, SDG Affairs, Prime Minister's Office. Mr. Helal Uddin Ahmed, Senior Secretary, Local Government Division. Chief Engineer, Mr. Shafiqul Hassan, distinguished government officials, distinguished development partners and colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. It is my great honor and pleasure to participate in this virtual launching event with you. I would like to start by congratulating the government of Bangladesh for the remarkable progress made over the years in the water and sanitation and hygiene sectors. I would also like to congratulate the Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives for taking this agenda forward in the timely establishment of the citywide inclusive sanitation fecal sludge management to respond to urban sanitation issues in Bangladesh. As you all know, millions of people living in major cities, low-income communities, especially women, are the most vulnerable to the impacts of poor sanitation and high levels of pollution. As cities expand spatially and attract more people in the future, these factors will pose a binding constraint to economic growth. Besides, untreated domestic sewage that are discharged illegally into rivers and canals are adversely affecting the environment, living spaces, and public health of urban residents. Furthermore, sanitation plays a critical role in human capital development, the key to achieving the country's ambition of becoming an upper middle income country. The World Bank's WASH poverty diagnostics highlighted the implications of WASH access and quality on the country's human capital development and poverty reduction. The World Bank remains steadfast as your development partner in implementing the CWIS agenda, as we are supporting the government in its effort to provide sustainable and comprehensive sanitation solutions for Bangladesh cities and rural areas through several projects, including the Dhaka Sanitation Improvement Project, the Municipal Water Supply and Sanitation Project, and the Bangladesh Rural Water Supply and Sanitation for Human Capital Development Project. Honorable Minister, distinguished participants, I'd like to highlight that our interventions are premised on 5 key principles of CWIS, which are also essential for sector-wide replication. 1, inclusive approach covering the total service delivery chain, that is containment, emptying, transportation, treatment, and disposal. 2, financial sustainable sanitation service delivery. 3, promoting private sector engagement. 4, focusing on behavior change, thus bringing all households under service coverage. And 5, institutional capacity building of the local government institutions and private sector for sustainable service development. We stand ready to work with the government in advancing the CWIS agenda. We shall continue our dialogue on how to improve and bring reforms to the engagement models for urban WSS service delivery so that service providers, for example, local government institutions, are better prepared in their response to urban sanitation needs, including setting up a strong monitoring and evaluation system as we saw in the presentation. I look forward to our continued partnership with the government of Bangladesh and in this very high priority sector. Donabad, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Now it's a privilege to hear from Mr. Roger Voorhees, President, Global Growth and Opportunity, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, regarding Gates Foundation's efforts towards sanitation success.
Oh, thank you very much and good morning. It is great to be with you, and I want to especially acknowledge the Honorable Minister Tajul Islam. Hello, Dean Al-Muyeed, the Senior Secretary, the Chief Engineer Safir Ram, and Zuain Aziz, the Principal Coordinator representing the Prime Minister's office today. While we're here to talk about sanitation today, I want to start by acknowledging the deep and broad partnerships we have with the government of Bangladesh. And those partnerships have deepened, especially in response to the pandemic. And I just want to say that against overwhelming odds in one of the most densely populated countries in the world, I want to acknowledge the great work and the focus that Bangladesh has done on low-income people, on health considerations, and the economic impact on low-income families around Bangladesh. And it's been an honor across many of our programs, whether that has been our financial inclusion, our diarrheal disease program, pneumonia, ag, nutrition, to work with many of you on the call today, many of the ministries across Bangladesh, and many of the local domestic partners and international NGOs. And I raise that at the beginning because we've learned so much from you in all of these endeavors. And I'm especially excited about Bangladesh's continued leadership, and now with its leadership in CWIS and Faecal Sludge Management. As my colleague Roshan acknowledged, today is World Toilet Day, and it feels an appropriate way to celebrate the CWIS-FSM Cell creation. As many of you know, Bangladesh is the first country in South Asia to develop a clear institutional and regulatory framework for FSM, including a long-term action plan for its implementation. The process undertaken here serves as an example to other countries in South Asia. So not only are you a lesson for us at the Foundation, but a model for much of the region. We are glad to see the funding commitments from the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, the Islamic Development Bank, JICA, the UK government, UNDP, UNICEF, and many more bilateral and multilateral partners for sanitation in Bangladesh. The mechanism developed for scaling FSM and establishing the CWIS-FSM Cell, Technical Assistance Hub and Capacity Building Hub, is a promising means to scale inclusive sanitation to the entire country. I really enjoyed the dashboard, and I'm glad you took the time to get it fixed, because it was a great honor to see the seriousness with which you were trying to monitor and build an accountability framework. I also want to appreciate and acknowledge that Bangladesh is the first ever country to procure the Omni processor, and the new cell will help ensure its sustainable operation. Particularly, I'm happy that there will be an element within the CWIS and FSM Cell to deal both with emergency response, but also with climate change, which is affecting not the future for many of our friends in Bangladesh, but already today. And therefore, on behalf of Bill and Melinda Gates and the entire foundation, We're happy to be a part of the citywide inclusive sanitation and the fecal sludge management journey in Bangladesh. And we look forward to seeing the results on the ground. And when we see poor, marginalized community, especially women and girls, will have access to safely managed sanitation facilities and service, and new opportunities for entrepreneurship and business development. Thank you very much, and an honor to be with you this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roger, for your nice speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very delighted to have with us Ms. Juena Aziz, Principal Coordinator, SDG Affairs, Prime Minister's Office, Bangladesh. I would like to request now her to share country's SDG progress and achievement.
Thank you. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Mohammad Tajul Islam, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperative, Government of Bangladesh. Honorable Special Guest, Mr. Roger Boris, President, Global Growth and Opportunity, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Respected Chair, Mr. Helaluddin Ahmed, Senior Secretary, Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives. Distinguished guest, Chief Engineer, Mr. Saifur Rahman, distinguished development partners from World Bank, JICA, ADB, UNICEF, UK, Government, Islamic Bank, guests and participants. Assalamu alaikum and good morning to you all. I would like to extend my wholehearted greetings and thanks to the organizer for inviting me to this online launching event of citywide inclusive sanitation fecal sludge management support cell. At the outset, I would like to say Mujibiyar greetings to you all. As we have been celebrating the centennial birth anniversary of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the dream of Bangabandhu was to build a Sonar Bangla, and with the visionary leadership of his daughter, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, we are in the process of realizing that dream. Distinguished guest, we all know that Bangladesh has achieved historic progress in achieving almost zero open defecation and made good progress towards the target of the Millennium Development Goals. Because of such improvements, the casualty from etheric disease has fallen rapidly. We know in Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goal 6 aims to tackle challenges related to drinking water, sanitation and hygiene for the population, as well as to water-related ecosystems. We have to focus on equality, sustainable water resource and sanitation, and with a view to having solid progress in many other areas across the SDGs, including health, education, and poverty reduction. We know one of the aspirations of SDGs is leave no one behind. Bangladesh has already identified hydrogeologically and socio-economically difficult areas and people while preparing the national strategy for water and sanitation in the hard-to-reach areas of Bangladesh, 2012. Government investment in water, sanitation and hygiene has been increasing over the last couple of years. We have to ensure appropriate toilet technologies for differently able people at an affordable cost. The threat posed by climate change, particularly in disaster-prone areas, also needs serious attention for sanitation. Sanitation now becomes safely managed sanitation to be achieved by 2030. The local government division has been working relentlessly to excel the sanitation achievement. Let me thank the ministry as well as the DPC for establishing the CWIS-FSM Support Cell, which is considered to be crucial for safely managed sanitation of the country. It is indeed a joyous moment for us as the CWIS-FSM Support Cell will start working to continue to the country's SDGs target focusing on sanitation as well. Dear participants, the drive of attaining SDGs targets lies within the political will of the government of Bangladesh. We have integrated SDGs into our national development strategies and policies. Our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was appointed as a member of the United Nations High-Level Panel on Water in 2016. The formation of CWIS-FSM Support Cell is time-worthy. I am confident that this support cell will play a pivotal role in achieving the targets of SDGs nationwide through coordinating all the sector actors who work on sanitation. Dear guests, the wider interpretation of sanitation according to SDG now requires both fecal sludge management and solid waste management, where the country requires all-out efforts from the development partners. I am glad to hear some strong commitments from development partners, and I am confident that together we can achieve the journey of safely managed sanitation in the coming days. Let me take this opportunity to thank the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for their support to establish CWIS-FSM Support Cell as part of the institutional strengthening of the government. We are expecting that all the development partners will collaborate with CWIS-FSM Support Cell to pave this journey in the coming years, so that all Purosabhas and city corporations can develop the capacity for safely managed sanitation, ensuring that no one is left behind. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice speech. Distinguished guests, we are honored to have with us Mr. Mohammad Tajul Islam, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives, and the chief guest of today's launching event. I'd like to request our honorable chief guest to share government's political will and vision of the ministry with us, and he will announce finally the inauguration of CWIS-FSM Support Cell.
Thank you very much. Madam Zuan Aziz joined as a special guest, and Mr. Rozar Boris and Melinda Gates, and all other special guests, distinguished and development partners. Everybody joined and give their remarks about the Bangladesh, about the fecal sludge and solid waste management. And I heard very keenly, and this is one of the very, very important issue for the Bangladesh. I think everybody aware Bangladesh is very densely country in terms of the population. So in recent days, under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, the country's economic position have been scaled up. Because of that, the status of peoples for consumption have been raised, and peoples is consuming much, and so at the same time the waste generation have been increased. So it becomes a very big challenge for especially Bangladesh. It is the same issue for all over the world, because of the modern lifestyle of the common people all over the world. Everywhere these kinds of challenge, especially the waste management, is one of the big challenges. So Bangladesh, as it is a densely country, so it becomes a very big challenge, and we take it as one of the fundamental issue to address. That is for the resilient livelihood of the common people even in the urban and the rural area. So by this time, I think I thanks to all the development partner, those who are coming forward, come forward, and they have given their technical and know-how and financial support in many issues. In Bangladesh, actually, public health engineering department is responsible for mostly, other than the city corporation area, to address all this fecal sludge and waste management, water sanitation, hygiene. They are doing their job very nicely. I think the last one, gate, they have a lot of appreciation job. And because of that, which have been mentioned, that almost Bangladesh is achieved zero open defecation. So this is the one of the big achievement. And beside that, the solid waste may become a big challenge. There is a solid waste is generating in the domestic and as well as industry. So this domestic waste and industrial waste, solid waste, is such a huge. So it becomes and we do not have the time to other than to address this issue. This is why we have taken the actually we have searched the many options. How could we can eliminate this kinds of a thing? Because Bangladesh is a very land hungry country, very scarce land we have. So we do not have the land to dump the waste, all the waste. So you must have to eliminate. So this is why after taking the charge of the ministry, I myself have I have visited the Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, learning how they are addressing all these issues, because they are a contemporary country. Most of the waste is generating in domestically is the similar. So I find that they are actually addressing this problem by the way of the incineration. That is, the mixed waste they are incinerating, and through that they are producing the electricity, and this electricity they're selling to the electricity department. And this option I have taken. And this is why we have, by this time, we able to approve one project for the North-South City Corporation of Dhaka. And South City Corporation and Gazipur is under process. So this process we want to implement on all over the Bangladesh, not only for this city corporation area. So gradually we are going ahead. And beside this, actually the Faecal Sludge. Faecal Sludge, I thanks Bill Melinda Gates, and the Omni process are one process they have shown us, and which have been demonstrated us to, which might be solved in the city Purushoba areas. They have taken under the leadership of our public health engineering department. They have taken 104 city Purushoba to for the solid waste and Faecal Sludge Management. But I have a small concern about this issue. This Faecal Sludge, whatever they are going to the technology, yet I am not confirmed whether this one will address the environment and the food recycle issue. That is, once this Faecal Sludge would be used after process in the agricultural field. So the Faecal Sludge, it is a human extract. Then human extract might have a lot of poisonous things. That is, human is taking the medicine, and they are taking the lot of cancer disease medicine, and this a lot of very poisonous medicine they are taking. So whenever any human extract will be treated and it will be used for the agriculture. So I myself have a really serious concern about this, whether there is a scope of through the food cycle, it could become to the human body again, and it will be the serious issue. But so far I heard that Omni processor process, they have some such of a technology by which they can eliminate this thing. So this could be, if it is so, then it is okay. So other than actually there is one issue have been pointed out by our Asian Development Bank. Joshua, one plant have been set up. I think it is not that much comprehensively support appreciable one, because there is one issue of the environment, and this one is not actually comprehensively could address all the requirements of the environments and humans. So I think okay, we have by this time we have find out the more very effective technology and acceptable technology, which we already been started and which I have been explained initially. So I think this one, this issue is also addressable. And by this time, our government is very concerned about the effluent treatment plant for the liquid waste of the industries. So this one is also, we are jointly working with the Environment Ministry, and this one is, I think, in time, the effluent treatment plant will be set up in all the factories which have been commitment. And beside that, development partner, especially the World Bank, they have given the palm actually comment about they want to be work with Bangladesh side by side for the finance and for the know-how and technology. And all other development partners, those who are working in Bangladesh, I think we have a very cordial and very friendly relation with all of them. And Bangladesh is a growing country. And our beside this pandemic situation, we are also facing all these challenges very seriously, and we hope sooner or later antidote will come, and the world will get chance to escape from this case of pandemic, and same in Bangladesh. And but one of the big advantages in Bangladesh, under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, whole country is unified. All the peoples of Bangladesh is under are very much optimistic to work under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister. So this is why whatever the effect it have about the pandemic, then country after completion after the end of this pandemic, then Bangladesh could rescue this whatever the situation has been facing now. That is, it will be rescued very successfully. So I believe that the development partners, those who are working with us, and we all together work for these kinds of a solid waste and fecal sludge management, and as well as all other issue, whatever is required, they will with us. And Bangladesh, I think, in South Asia, could be exemplary country about many issues, including the city inclusive sanitation and businesses. So, in concluding of my speech, I thanks everybody for joining with us and give us the remark, which we have been noted, and we will try to compile all these comments and in the form of the decision. Thank you very much. And in the same time, I am inaugurating the CWIS-FSM ceremony of today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Honorable Minister, sir, for the speech with the directives. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to request Mr. Mohammad Saifur Rahman, Chief Engineer, DPHE, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Mr. Mohammad Tajul Islam, Ms. Joanna Aziz, SDG Coordinator, Prime Minister Office, and distinguished guests. I would like to thank you all to participation and give us valuable time. Special thanks to our Honorable Minister for inaugurating the special event in spite of his valuable time. I hope that under the leadership of our Honorable Minister, Mr. Mohammad Tajul Islam, the journey of CWIS-FSM Support Cell has just started and will contribute towards sanitation success in Bangladesh. Again, thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you very much to everybody.
Oh, madam, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honored to be with you.
Okay.
Thank you everyone
Yeah,
to
thank
join
you.
this.
Thank you,
event.
everybody. We are leaving.
It was a
Thank you.
wonderful workshop. Everybody spoke nice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.